You are listening to the Intuitive Healing Connection. Hi, my name is Gina Stroll, and I am your host. I am best known as the down-to-earth intuitive healer that doesn't sugarcoat the truth. I walk my clients through the healing process and help them heal from their past so that they can find peace and joy again. If you are interested in healing your past, tapping into your spiritual side to receive your own answers, finding your own clarity and discovering your own wisdom, then you are in the right place. I am here to lead the way and help you discover your intuitive connection. Hello everyone, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you find this inspirational and helpful for you along your healing journey. So today I felt called to talk about kind of the wake-up call for healing. Kind of those very beginning steps when you realize it's time to make a change and maybe you don't really know what those changes are or what they look like or even what you're supposed to do. Those early moments of healing can be a moment of you just don't know. You just don't know. There's a lot you just don't know. And so that's what I want to talk about today is when I believe we all kind of get that call to wake up. We all kind of get those moments, those nudges, those feelings of maybe there's something bigger out there. Maybe there's something better out there. This can't be what I came here to do. This can't be all that is here for me. As we get into our adult years, it's like, did I really come here to work and die? You kind of start to wonder because here in the physical world, we're required to have money. We're required to, be able to take care of ourselves and feed ourselves and do all these types of things. But, I think there comes a time when everyone's life when they really start to ask, what the heck is going on? Why are we doing this? What is the purpose of all of this? And I remember hitting that stage several years ago. I'd really been going through life. I was raising kids. I had 4 young kids. It probably even started before then. I remember just being in this place of, what am I doing? I get up every day and I do the same things over and over. I remember listening to, back then I loved Reba McEntire, and is there something better out there? I remember her song thinking that, is there something better out there? Can I really let this all go? Have I missed the boat on something? It's not that I didn't love my kids and I didn't love my husband. I didn't love the life I was living in. I just felt inside like something was missing. I realized what it was later. At the time, I didn't know what I was missing. And I remember going on this quest, so to speak, to really find the true meaning of life, really find those moments of really what's going on here and what am I doing and what am I here to do? What is my calling here? I remember thinking that a lot. Several years before that, I had lost my brother to suicide. And him and I were about 17 months apart, I think. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if I could only help one person, if I could just help one person along the way. But fast forward, 10 years later, and I'm sitting here wondering, what in the heck is this calling? And, I remember thinking there just has to be more out there. I was in really such a low place, such a depressed place. Every day seemed really just day after day or day doing the same things. And, as we get into motherhood and yes, I have 4 young kids and I was, getting kids to school and, getting kids to soccer practice and piano lessons. And we did a lot of music lessons, violin. I was doing all the things but I didn't have my heart in any of it. And I really just remember feeling like something was missing. Not only that, I was medicating. I was on antidepressants. I was taking Xanax to get through the days. My anxiety was through the roof. It just wasn't what I would call really living in purpose. Now, looking back on those years, did I do the very best that I could? Absolutely. And fast forwarding to where I am now, I understand why I felt the way that I did, why I was depressed, why I wasn't living up to my full potential, why it seemed so hard to do anything or to get anything done or to move or to make changes. Like it just seems so hard to make changes. I remember thinking, have to find what this is for me. I have to find this. There has to be more than this. And I was raised in a very religious setting. And that was one of the first places I started searching was really inside of the religion that I was in. And we were raised in the LDS church, the Mormon church. And I remember thinking, okay, you know what? I'm a type of person that I'm either all in or I'm all out. There is no middle ground for me. Um, and I've always been that way. And I used to get mad at myself for being that way. Now I don't get mad anymore. I just think, you know what? Okay, what I'm either all in or I'm all out. If I'm going to dedicate so much time and energy to this space in my life, I'm going to know that that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I remember studying more about my religion. I remember really for the first time in my life, probably diving into religious stuff deeply. I'm really studying their doctrine. And the more I did that, the more I knew for me that it was time for me to go. And that there was something else that I needed to discover outside of the walls and the restraints of my religion. Now, doing that scared me to death. For one, I live in a very small community, and the judgment and the comments and really just the judgment from other people was very scary for me. And so it was really hard. It took me a long time to decide that that's what I needed to do. But slowly by slowly, I did. I started unwinding from that, really letting go of a lot of the belief systems that I had been raised with, letting go a lot of the fear based, what I call now kind of a lot of the fear based doctrine wrapped around. There's still so many good parts inside of all of that, but I let go of the parts that really were not serving me and helping me really step into my power, step into my place. Now, I know many people who do that inside the bounds of their religion, and that is great. I knew just for me that it was time for me to step out. And so I did. I slowly stepped out. And then I remember thinking after that, okay, so if my religion isn't where I want to be, what about religion as a whole? And so I did the same thing for myself as religion as a whole. Realized that there were many good things inside of that, but there was also still this fear based side of it that I knew for me, that was one of the big things. I didn't want to stay in that you have to do this in order to be loved scenario anymore. If you didn't show up this way. And for me, that's how I felt about it. And so, I keep drawing this back. For me, that's how it felt like something needed to change. And so I did. I let go of the religion part of my life, which was never easy to do when we start making changes. It wasn't easy, but I knew for me that it was the right thing to do. And so I did. I did that and I let that go. And I really started allowing myself to open up. Okay, so what else is out there? What are these possibilities for me? And so I really started searching, really looking for that next thing for myself. And this is where I found intuitive healing. This is where I found spirituality. I believe there's a difference between spirituality versus religion. For me, spirituality is more of being able to get my own answers, really decide what works for me and what doesn't work for me, and let the rest go, and not have the guilt and shame wrapped around not doing what I feel like in a lot of religions you're told that you have to do in order to be accepted and live. And so that's really what I started searching for. That's really what I dove in, and inside of that is where I found intuitive healing. It is where I found mediumship. It is where I found all of the tools that I use today in my life. I also felt like inside of that, I finally found my freedom and I found my calling. Because as I started doing my own healing work, as I really started letting go of the blame and the shame and the shadow side of myself, and really allowed myself to blossom and come out into the world, a new form of me took shape. It really did. A new way of understanding the world, in the way I see the world around me, the way I show up in the world around me, even the way I felt inside. I, for the first time in my life, have allowed myself to feel joyful and to feel peace and to seek out that peace, not worrying all the time about what I'm not doing or what I should be doing or who I should be doing it for. Really just letting go of all of that and really seeking out my own inspiration every day. And this is the wake up call that I want to talk about, because I believe that sometime most of us, I'll say most of us, because I truly believe that not everybody has come here to have a healing lifetime or have a wake up call. I believe there are some people that are just here to help us learn our lessons along the way. But for a lot of us, that searching comes and we start asking, what are we really doing here? For some, they find it inside of religion, and that's great. Others find it in other areas. They find, we really want that deep connection. We search for that deep connection. It's how we're wired. It's how it's meant to be. But we have to learn to seek our own answers out and decide what is best for us. Sometimes just because it's the way that you were raised doesn't mean it's the way that you want to continue living or that is best for you to continue living on in your adult lives. And so this wake up call comes, and I feel like we have to heed it. I feel like we have to listen to it. We really have to start. It's a time to really search deep down inside of ourselves and really find that true essence of ourselves. As I said earlier, I remember when my brother, he had taken his own life. And I remember thinking, if I could just help just one person live a better life. And it's been 30 years now. And I can tell you, I have helped many people live in this better place, in this better life, and really learn to open up and get their own intuitive answers on what do they want to do and what's best for them, what's best for their family, and really stop relying on everyone else to give them the answers and open up to this beautiful world of them receiving their own intuitive hits, opening up to all that there is out there, because we really have such control. And I know when I say that, that's going to flip a lot of switches for people, but you honestly do have so much control over your life. But we have to take that power back. We have to realize that it is our responsibility to get our answers for ourselves. It is our responsibility to start asking questions and start receiving our intuitive hits. Even just this morning, as I was getting ready to record, and it was like I was having a lot of self-doubt go on. I was like, is this really what I want to do? I've been going back and forth about doing some things for a while. And I heard just as plain as day, you wanted to spread the message. You wanted to spread inspiration. Here's how you can do it. And these are the type of answers that we need to seek, because there are people who need you. There are people who are searching for the answers that you have. But we have to be open up to do our own work inside of ourselves. And I have been doing that now for a lot of years, really letting go of the self-sabotage and the shame and the guilt and the sorrow and this ego part of us that wants us to stay in our box and stay small. Those belief systems of you don't need to be seen or heard. You just need to take up just a small amount of space, and that's it. That's all you get. Really letting go of that and really expanding out into the world and allowing my energy to be seen and heard, allowing our visions to be seen and heard, and really tapping into what's my calling here. Because for me, I know there's more than just doing what I was doing before. There's more than getting up and going to work every day and making a few bucks and coming home and going to bed and doing it again the next day. To me, there's so much more to be seen and heard here. But we have to tap into it. We have to understand these spiritual, what I believe are fundamental truths of spirituality, that you're here to have joy. You're here to have an experience. You're here to create a life that you can be proud of. And if we do that in the shadow of someone else, you're never going to be stepping out into creating your own oneness for what works for you. And so, really just heeding the call and coming in and asking, have you ever asked yourself, what do you want? I work with so many people. I'm like, have you ever given yourself the opportunity to ask yourself, what is it that you want? If you're living in the shadow of your spouse or you're Parents, have you ever really just said, you know what? Oh my gosh, I get to choose? Because you do, you get to choose. And it's, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? What is my reason for being here? Because I promise you, and I believe motherhood is a fabulous calling, and all of these, sometimes it is, it's to, be this nurturing voice for our children. Sometimes, we have, there's big things that go on in our life, but you need to come to that decision for yourself. What is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to be? How is it that I want to show up into this world? I just had a thought as I was saying that. We went to a funeral a few weeks ago, and a lot of times when we start asking these questions, we get all caught up in the judgment of what people will think if we start making changes. What will our family think if we start making changes? What will that look like? What does that feel like? And it gets very scary, and the human side of us gets very fearful. And this is usually when we retract back into our hole. But as we went to a funeral a few weeks back, and it was for a friend of ours, and some people really, really liked this guy, and some people didn't. Depending on how you interacted with him, there were different sides of him. And that's okay, because I feel like I have different sides too. There's a part of me that's not willing to put up with a lot of stuff. There's also another part of me that is very patient and kind and very connected with people. And so, we all have these different sides of us. But we were discussing that, and I made the comment. I said, you know what? I hope when my day comes, somebody just says, "Wow, Gina made an impact on my life." Gina, there was somehow something good that came out of the work that I had done. And my husband laughed at me, and he said, "Well, because we used to both kind of think the same thing." And he's like, "Well, that's interesting because everybody has their own opinions and their own judgments and their own views. And for some of us, my husband and I love to travel, and we love to travel the world." And we kind of just started with that. And he said, for some people, they may think that what we do is completely ridiculous and selfish, and that we should be leaving that money for our kids, and we shouldn't be spending that kind of stuff, and shouldn't be going that far away, and blah blah blah. Other people will think that is the most fabulous thing on the face of the earth, and how wonderful it is that you get those opportunities to do that. And so it doesn't matter what we do, somebody's always going to have an opinion about it. The thing that matters is that you step into yourself and start listening to your own guidance, and start listening to yourself and really asking yourself, what is best for me? What path do I need to take? What decision do I need to make? What things do I need to do so that I really can live my best, most fulfilled life? Not worrying about the ending. I see so many people worrying about the ending and will it be enough at the end? That's a very human way to be. Worrying about what's going on in the here and now. Am I creating the relationships that I want? Am I creating the space that I want? Am I creating the home that I want? Am I creating the environment that I want to live in? Am I in the relationships that I want to be in? These are the kind of questions that we really start asking ourselves. And if something is off, why is it off? Just like for me, I told you, like living in that space of depression and anxiety, something is not right. This is when your body is calling out to you, telling you that it's time to make some changes. And it's time to really decide, what do you want? And if you can't answer that question, then I feel like this is your calling. It's time to go on your quest and really decide, okay, and that quest can change. It doesn't have to stay the same. I was listening to someone talk the other day, and she was talking about how life isn't planned for you here. You get to write the script. You get to decide what you want to do. Because when we go to the other side, we're going to realize how much power and control we really had. And I believe that in my heart of hearts. I believe that your time here is for you to create the life that you desire. We're here to have experiences. We're also here to learn and to grow. That is part of the deal. Is it always going to be easy? No. But you've got to learn to get out of your own way, to stop sabotaging yourself, to stop sabotaging your growth, and allow yourself to have experiences. For me, that's why I travel, is because I allow myself to have those experiences in life. And I do that in all areas of my life. We love to get out. We love to go do things. We love to experience life. This world is vast, and you're here in a physical body, and you get to go see it and feel it and hear it and touch it and do all the amazing things. But you have to create that. You have to make that happen. Does it take some things to make that happen here in the physical world? Yes, it does. But that's where we can create that for ourselves and make those priorities. We can decide how we want our kids to be raised. We can decide what works best for our family and not doing what everybody else tells us that we have to do. Whatever it is for you, whatever things that you feel that, your kids, how you want to raise your kids, that's totally up to you. You get to call it. You get to call the life with you and the relationships and how that works for you. But if you do it in an honoring and loving way and know that you're right where you need to be, that you're right where you're supposed to be, that there are no mistakes, that every decision that we make in life is for our learning and our growth. I used to get all caught up on making the right or the wrong decision. Anybody set in that indecisiveness of right or wrong? Have you ever been there and you're like, oh my gosh, what's the right choice? To me, I've let that go because I don't believe in a right or a wrong choice. I believe in lessons learned either way. No matter what choice you make, if you're getting a new job, which one feels the best? That's the one you go to. If you've got to make a decision for your kids, what school they're going to, for your, who you want to marry, what feels the best? That's what you do. Is it a yes or is it a no? We get so caught up in what's the right path. I believe you're creating your path every second of the day. And you get to decide how you want to do it. You get to decide how much joy you want to bring in. You get to decide how much compassion and love comes into your life. You get to decide all these things. But when we give it away and think we're powerless and we have to do one thing or another, that's when you're not making decisions from an empowered place. That is coming from an ego place. That is coming from a place of fear. And those are going to be some hard knock lessons for you, I promise you. But when we do it of a place of knowing, like we know, what, this one feels the best. But we have to learn to do that. We have to learn to step into that place. We have to learn, what does joy feel like again? A lot of us don't even know. What does that feel like? What does it mean to be playful? What feels good? And allow yourself to answer those questions instead of getting all caught up in what's right or wrong. So I hope this has been helpful for you today. I love talking about, really this wake up to your healing energy, wake up to the things that you have going on inside of you. Wake up and realize that we all have things we have to work through. We all have this shadow side. We all have this self-sabotage. But if we can get out of our own way and really learn to do that in an honoring way, your life is going to be so full of bliss and joy beyond measure. But you have to allow yourself to step into that. So thank you for listening today. I hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you again next time. I sincerely hope you enjoyed today's episode. I love connecting with my people. So if you would like to get in touch with me, you can email me at ginastroll@ginastroll.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram and on YouTube as Gina Stroll Intuitive Healing. And of course, if you have any interest in anything that we talked about today, all of my stuff is available on my website at ginastroll.com. And again, thank you for joining me, and I can't wait for us to connect up again. Have a great day.